How's it going, everyone? It's the Conservative Christian here. Got as you can tell by the title of this video, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So buckle up your seat belts, as Miss Friz would say from the Magic School Bus, and stuff. So where are these people coming from? Go away. Anyways, so let's go ahead and jump right in it, shall we? So, topic of today is Pride Month. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've tried to record this video, this is like the 5th or 6th time now that I've tried to record this video. It's been such a pain in the butt because for some reason when I've been trying to record this, when I'm driving, my video just cuts out. It just stops recording on its own even though I haven't pressed anything. One might call that divine intervention, who knows. I'm calling it the sunlight because I moved my phone from its previous location to a new location, and because the angle looks better from here, I think. But I think what that's done is that the sun can get to my phone easier on the back side of it from where it is now, and I think that the heat messes up the video somehow, and it causes things to malfunction and do things on its own. Because I had no problems, obviously, when it was down over there. Where I used to record from. People who are coming from Facebook know what I'm talking about because they'll instantly recognize that this is new in general, probably. So anyways, let's jump right into it. So, first thing I want to mention with this whole topic is that I don't personally have an issue with a lot of the stuff going on with Pride Month. So I'm just mostly going to talk about what I do have a problem with, and I'm going to just be talking a little bit about both worlds. I'm going to be talking about throwing in some theology along with the current topic. So Pride Month, what does that mean? What is that? So from my understanding of what Pride Month is, it's a new thing that we have in celebration of, I guess, the rights that gay people now have that they didn't have before because they were oppressed and all that stuff. So, oh, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. Whew, man, okay. So yeah, that's just kind of my overall understanding of what it is and all that stuff. And I mean, just to kind of go off that, I guess, I don't know, I get that that's what it's about, but my personal opinion, interpretation, whatever, what have you, of the whole thing is just that it really just seems to be this month in which people are obligated to look at and accept people who choose to have sex in a different way than the vast majority of America. I don't know. To me, I get the reasons behind Pride months for certain groups, but to me, I don't know. I just find it kind of silly because if you need a month to kind of have pride in who you are, then I don't know. It just kind of seems self-defeating, and I'm really not trying to bash on it, but it just seems a little bit. It seems like that the purpose of Pride Month isn't really for pride. I know I'm not lumping everyone out there watching who may be a homosexual, but I'm just saying that with the group as a whole, just recently I saw we saw this thing where the White House decided not to light up the White House with the gay pride flag, the rainbow color. And see, the thing that kind of told me that this really wasn't about having rights was the fact that the Equal Rights Humanity, whatever the heck the company with the blue background and the yellow equal sign or whatever it is, I forget what their name is. Them and the LGBT group, from what I remember, they all attacked Trump, for not doing that, because Obama did that. Obviously, first of all, Obama should never have done what he did, I don't think. I think that he should have made those things a state issue. He should have left that issue up to each state individually. But it's just more it's just the thing that they got upset at the fact that the White House didn't acknowledge that this was Pride Month, that they didn't light up the White House with the flags. And what this tells not only myself but all other Americans out there who may disagree with that lifestyle is that this isn't really about your rights. This is what this actually is that it's about acceptance. It's about you shoving your beliefs down everyone else's throats. And look, I get it. Everyone's had an egg in their face at one point. In fact, just to make sure that I'm being as fair as humanly possible, there was a time in my life when I thought that homosexuality should not be allowed in America, period. And I was also the person who was wanting to essentially use the government as a tool to do that. So to be fair, I'm not, I don't want to come across as hypocritical. But it's not so much. So what I'm speaking from a place of not so much that I want to use the government so that gay people can't have their rights. I'm just saying that it should be left up to the states individually. And on top of that, I personally don't care. Like, honestly, like even the way Obama did it, right? Even the way things are right now, I don't really care. Like, okay, let's just assume that homosexual marriage is recognized by the states. I don't generally care as long as these people are not forcing other people or religions to cater to their thing. In fact, I think that honestly, to avoid, because what I was going to say was, as long as these gay people are not forcing pastors who refuse to participate in gay weddings, as long as they're not using the government against its people. However, I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to actually use an argument that a famous conservative named Ben Shapiro used, which I recently found out about this guy about a year ago or so. Here's his take on it, and I completely agree. I think that the government should stay out of the business of marriage. It's not really a business, but government should not be in marriage, period. The only thing that government should really be in marriage and when it comes to marriage itself is that they just should have documentation of people, by the state, people who are married. That way for taxes and all that stuff. But when it comes to who can marry who, I don't think the government has a role there. The reason why I say that is twofold, and it's one, it's just to keep everything equal, literally equal. One is so that one side can't use the government, and two, so that the other side can't use the government as a club. When you let homosexuality be a thing that everyone can do if they choose to do so, and not because of the government, but because the government stays out of it, where it's essentially like its own business, where the government can't tell you what kind of business you can and can't run, etc., then that means that neither side can tell the other person how they should live their life. And again, I'm holding both sides accountable to this. As long as either side isn't harassing the other side as to how they should live their lifestyle, then I don't see a problem with it. I mean, yes, you still have freedom of speech, so I mean that's still a thing. But the thing is that when it's no longer a government issue, you can no longer use the government as a club. You have to kind of just roll with the punches. So if there are people out there who just hate the gays and they want to tell the gays how to live their life, they still have the freedom to do so, but they can't force them to. And see, this is, again, it ties back to this concept of acceptance. If people don't agree with your lifestyle, you feel the need and the desire to push it onto other people forcibly. Likewise, Christians have the same tendency. And I just think that it should stop on both ends. Okay, I have a few gay friends in my life. Okay, and let me tell you, it is very possible to be friends with people who are gay as a Christian. It's very possible. In fact, I would even go as far as to argue that gay people are the nicest people that I've ever met. Because it's true. I don't think I've actually ever met one gay person who has not been one of the nicest, funniest human beings I've ever met. I know it's a bizarre concept in this world to grasp this notion that you can be friends with people who disagree with something that you believe in, but it's flipping true, okay? And generally that desire, that need to feel like you can't be friends with them can easily be overridden if you just get to know the person, okay? The first person that I ever became friends with who was lesbian, gay, same difference, homosexual I should say. The first person who I ever became friends with who was homosexual, we both loved music. And because of who she was as a person, I can confidently say that if it were not for her, it's arguable that I wouldn't be in a place that I'm at now musically. Because let me give you a little bit of backstory. I used to be very musically involved when I was younger, and I was in church. Our church was very involved with music. We did musicals a few times throughout the year. We did Christmas things. We did just stuff. We did all kinds of things musically. We had a pastor who was very musical. But then I joined the military, and I entered into an environment where you were essentially criticized for everything you did wrong, and so that kind of made me a little bit fearful of the stage again. It wasn't until I met this person who's a great musician. She sings well. She's got great confidence, great stage presence. It wasn't until I met her that she kind of reintroduced me into that world again, and she helped me boost my confidence up again. My former boss, she was a lesbian too, and let me tell you, she's probably the best boss I've ever had, at least one of them. She's definitely on the top one or two. So like my current boss, she's pretty awesome as well, but they're both pretty equal. But she's a great boss. And even some of the coworkers that I had, some of the people that I met there that were also gay, they were some of the nicest people that I've ever met. They were actually incredibly funny too. They kept shifts very entertaining, very upbeat, and that was good for me because it was kind of easy for me to kind of get down on myself a little bit every now and then because I was struggling with the job. And so I don't understand. But every single one of those people knew where I stood, but it wasn't an issue. Why? Because we both understood this thing called decency, tolerance. People, okay? Tolerance doesn't mean, because this is what I really think it means. Tolerance seems to mean generally from the LGBTQ side that they have to be accepted for who they are, in the sense that we have to praise them and acknowledge them and agree with them. And that's, it's kind of like that line from, was it The Princess Bride? I don't know. Is it, you keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. Look up the word. Tolerance actually looks a lot more like disagreeing with someone's lifestyle, yet still wanting to be their friend, or still being okay with hanging out with them, still okay with being in their presence, still being okay with having a civil discourse. That's what tolerance is. It's not that I have to now accept your lifestyle and applaud you for being so brave. That's not what it is. That's not tolerance. And if you're watching this and you're gay and that's making you upset, look, we haven't met, okay? You're just seeing a very small portion of me, and honestly, I think it'd be kind of cool to meet you, okay? Like, this isn't me saying that I have no interest in ever meeting someone who disagrees with my entirety of my lifestyle, because I've been meeting people like that my entire life, and ironically, I've been able to become friends with most of them because we usually share common interests. They've been, I guess, a milestone in my life. They've helped me grow as a person. Like, it never really bothered me that they were black or Asian or gay or whatever the case may be. It literally didn't matter. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people are conflating, or that they're misconstruing, which is that because you are a minority group, that means that I must therefore give more of a crap about you as a person, and that I have to accept everything about you. That's not how it works. Okay, we didn't remember, we didn't really remember Harriet Tubman because she was black. Her being black was definitely an important factor, but we remembered her because she helped people escape slavery. At least I think she was black. I suck at history, guys. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. I think she was black, okay? But let's just, whether she was white or black, the concept still remains. Whether she was white or black, we don't remember her because she was white or black. We remember her because she was a person who helped people who were in trouble, and as a byproduct, we also recognize that she was white or black. Okay, let me go with someone that I do know about, just to kind of make the point better. Leonardo da Vinci. Apparently, Leonardo da Vinci was gay. Do we remember Leonardo da Vinci because he was gay? Or do we remember Leonardo da Vinci because he just happened to be a a fantastic artist for his time, and one of the best artists, one of the most renowned artists of all time. And the byproduct was that he was also gay. Okay, the guy, for those of you, if you've seen the movie, I'm going to give one more example. Shoot, what's it called? The Something's Game. It's the story of that. It's the story of that guy who cracked Enigma. That time in history where I think it was the Germans who were sending encrypted messages about what they're going to be attacking, and this guy invented this machine that was able to decode and decrypt German. That way they could preemptively strike or counter whatever they needed to do. And ironically, that was the system that prompted the inspiration for the computer to be made. The computer that you now have in your own home. It's called I think it's called the Numbers Game or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. But the guy who was involved in that, I mean, I think it still had a sad ending to some degree. It was still pretty sad. But this guy who created this thing, he was gay also. Now, I mean, from what I remember, like, he even after everything was said and done, he still had his fair share of issues. He was still he was forced to, like, I think, give up his machine or something, and he had to take meds in order to not be shamed or taken in or something like that. That was the agreement that he made or something along those lines. But again, did we care about the fact that he was gay just because he was gay? Or did we remember this guy as a person who had a brilliant mind, who was able to decrypt messages being sent about where Germans were going to be attacking U.S. forces to prevent further life loss? Is that what? And then the byproduct was that he was also gay. So this is the thing that it literally seems to be the opposite. When it comes to this whole subject, it seems just to be like, well, I'm gay, so you have to give a crap about who I am as a person, and you haven't really given me a reason or an example as to who you are as a person, other than the fact that you seem to be a very, very persistent prick who just really wants to shove your beliefs down my throat. It's the opposite. It's like, okay, I'm gay, therefore now you have to accept me for who I am, and if you don't accept me for who I am, then I get the right to name call you and all these, I get to be an indecent person to you. And it should be the other way around. And let me tell you something. Chances are, if you are gay or lesbian, people probably already can tell just by looking at you. So they've already established that from the get-go. So if they're having a conversation with you as it is, they're probably not really caring about the fact that you're gay so much, and they're probably just wanting to see who you are as a person to determine whether or not, maybe they want to be your friend. But it's a lot easier to play it the other way around, because what you don't realize that you're doing, which this is the realization that I had. What you don't realize that you're doing is that when you start from the premise that you're gay, therefore people must somehow give you more special attention, and then if they don't give you more special attention, that gives you somehow license to be mean to them. It turns out that the reason why people don't want to be your friend is because you're being mean to them, not because you're gay. So just think about that, I guess. That was obviously, like I said, I'm speaking from my own personal experience too on a different subject, okay? I used to think that if people didn't accept Christianity, that my belief as a Christian, then then that somehow gave me license to I don't even know what I did, but just to kind of like belittle them or something like that. And then it turns out that people hated me, or they didn't like me, because I did exactly the same thing that I'm explaining to you guys right now. And it wasn't until I got into certain conversations with people who are atheists, who once they realized that I was going to be a decent human being and just respectfully disagree with them and actually be able to articulate my points without calling them names, that was when they were like, oh, you're not like one of those guys. That's what people are saying about you guys, okay? Whenever you can prove that you're a decent human being, people don't care that you're gay. And they probably say that inside their head, like, oh, thank God they're not one of those homosexuals. Because what they're saying is that you're not one of those people who is just a complete dick. Because that's exactly how other Christians were, and that was a breath of fresh air to them, for them to meet a person like me who and even I could even acknowledge the fact that even if I didn't have the answer to the question, I'd be like, I haven't thought of it that way before. I don't know. I'll get back to you. They respect that a lot more. They have more incentive to continue seeing you as a friend, as a person, when you're willing to be a decent human being. And you treat people with respect, and you can, like, again, you can engage in civil dialogue. So the reason why people right now are upset at the LGBTQ community attacking President Trump isn't because they're gay. It's because they are, whether you guys realize it or not, you guys are telling other people that we have to care more about you because you're gay, and if we don't, that we're horrible people. That's a great way to get people to side with you. Sarcasm. So really think about that, because I want us to live in a society where, it would be nice where we could live in a society where, I'm not going to judge you and you're not going to judge me. And that we can all just get along. But that's not going to happen by people calling each other names. Look, if I disagree with you, I'm not attacking you, okay? I don't care. That's your life, okay? I can't change that. I know I can't change that. I might try and talk with you about it more, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be rude about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, just let people know. Like, if people are trying to engage in a conversation with you, yeah, maybe they're trying to change your mind. Maybe they're trying to give you a different perspective, but there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I've had this conversation before plenty of times with other people. I don't feel like it's going to be productive. I'd rather that we just didn't talk about it. I feel like it might affect our friendship. And you'll realize which people in your life are actually the decent ones. So you're putting the ball back in their court now, because now you're saying, okay, I'm going to be a decent person, and I'm just going to respectfully decline your invitation to have a conversation about this topic. And then if they're the ones who get upset about that, then you know who your friends really are. You know who the indecent people really are. If that person turns around and says, oh, well, I don't know what they would say. I can't even think of something. But if they get upset at the fact that you just don't want to have a conversation about a specific topic, that shows a lot more about them than it does about you. So it really should tell you at that point that they're just trying to be your friend, because they're trying to force conversations like this at some point or the other, and that's the only reason why that they're sticking with you in the first place, is to try and essentially convert you, or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I want to talk a lot more about this throughout the rest of this month. There's a lot to talk about. LGBTQ incorporates a lot of different aspects. Like, we also got the transgenderism in there. I don't know. And all that stuff. So I just wanted to start this video just by kind of giving I guess, an overall broad view. At the same time, I also want to make something very clear. I don't, yes, I have my beliefs, and this part is mostly for all the Christians out there. If there's a verse in the Bible that says, that God essentially has given these people away to their desires. And just to be very clear to the gay people watching, no, God does not hate you because you're gay. He didn't make you that way. I'll touch more into that in the next video. But for all the Christians out there, I really think that we should back off a little bit when it comes to this, because if God himself is taking a step back and saying that he's giving these people over to their sinful desires because he knows that they're not going to choose him, and that he knows, furthermore, I'm assuming, that if he continues pressing on the matter, that it's only going to keep pushing them farther away, I don't understand why we as Christians think we have a license now to step in place of God and think that we can do any better of a job. So leave him be. I mean, obviously, if you want to try and bring up a conversation with someone, obviously that's fine, but don't push it on people. If they don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it, because you're only going to keep pushing them farther away. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in part 2 later, and we'll talk more about some other stuff later. Peace.